All right, welcome to Gentle Yoga. If you're joining me now or if you're watching the recording later, we're going to start today in an upright seated posture. So finding a way to sit. It's a big challenge in yoga, but our seated posture is inevitably the posture that we want to figure out for our meditation, because that's a large part of our yoga practice. So I like to start by balancing on my knees and placing 2 blocks between my feet, hugging the blocks with my feet or my ankles and sitting on the very edge of my blocks. So I've created a little throne for myself, and the blocks are on the lowest setting, stacked one on top of the other on that wide base so that both sit bones are supported. Now, if you get here and you say to yourself, oh, my ankles have never been in this position before, why don't you find some other way to sit, right? You can come on a lower, take one block out and cross the legs in front, easy seat, right? I find Virasana to be very grounding and stabilizing for me. We all have different personal anatomies, right? Holler if you agree. Very different personal anatomies, different issues, different challenges. So let's begin. Once you find your comfortable, upright, seated posture, and if today that means you move to a chair, if you just can't find it, that's fine. We're going to be centering by placing a hand on the heart and a hand on the belly. Maybe gazing down towards the floor, softening that gaze, or maybe even closing the eyes. Nice tall spine. Beginning to notice the breath. Breathing in through the nose and out through the nose or mouth. Maybe this morning we need to really breathe a sigh of relief. See if we can stay with this sensation of breathing for 3 breath cycles. Just 3 breath cycles. Stay with the breath, with that shape change of the breath. Right? Allow yourself to experience this moment, this pause, the stillness. And perhaps you can send out some tendrils of connection to each other here in our yoga community, all practicing together. Good. I'm going to return my hands into my lap and slowly turn my head to the right. Come back to center, turn my head to the left. Come back to center, lift my head up towards the ceiling. Back to center, and then drop the chin down. Come back to center. Now, inhale to the right. As you exhale, back to center. Inhale, left. Exhale, back to center. Inhale, lift. Exhale, back to center. Inhale, tuck the chin. Exhale, back to center. Let's slow it down. We'll do that whole thing one more time. Inhale, right. Exhale. Inhale, left. Inhale, lift. Inhale, tuck. Very good, guys. That was the Brahma Mudra. We practiced it last week. I've been loving this combination of neck movement combined with sound. So let's crawl forward. I believe my knees and my ankles are telling me it's time. Crawl forward onto your hands and knees. And I'm going to go ahead and bring my blocks underneath my hands just for a moment and stretch my right leg long. And I'm just going to rock forward and rock back. And notice how that feels for me, right? If you're caring for, carpal tunnel, wrist issues, using the blocks like this might feel good to you, right? You could turn the blocks on a different setting, experiment. Very good. And now I'm going to switch sides, just stretching the left leg long, rocking forward, rocking back, just a gentle warm up for our class this morning. That's good, Ted. Blocks are right underneath the shoulders. Good. And then I'm going to come back and switch sides one more time, right leg long. And I'm going to stay solid and steady here as I lift my left arm out to the left and then maybe start to twist a little bit, reaching that left arm up. Big breath in, traveling back to center slowly and switching sides. That's good, guys. Nice, Leanne. Left leg long. Find some stability here and opening the right arm out to the right. Maybe we twist a little bit. Maybe we follow the hand with the gaze and come back down through center. Good. And now I'm going to lift my right leg out to the right with the knee bent for fire hydrant. We did this last week. I could tell many of you loved it. I'm just kidding. Release back to center. Inhale, left leg lifts. Let's see if we can do a total of 5 on each side. Okay, so inhale, right leg out to the right and hold, release down. Right, you can experiment with the gaze. Maybe the gaze follows the leg. Maybe the gaze stays steady at the top of your mat. Good, just moving back and forth. Maybe we're at about number 4. That's good. Walt, got the knee and the foot at a nice even height. Maybe you take one more on each side. And then we'll take the blocks to the side. I'm going to plant my hands down now. And I'm going to turn my fingertips towards the edges of my mat. Give myself a little wrist stretch here by bending my elbows. Just a little bit and putting a little pressure throughout the wrists. That's good, guys. And then walking my fingers back up, I'll bring some movement into my spine. Sink the belly, lift the head and heart for cow pose. As you exhale, you could pull the belly up and in and begin to round the back. Unless you have severe osteoporosis, then you're going to stay somewhat neutral. This is cat shape. And we'll move back and forth a few times. If you're transitioning from our chair yoga class to the mat yoga class, you'll recognize this shape. We do this in chair yoga as well in a seated way. And now this is the mat yoga version. Right, so rounding and arching the back a few more times. See if you can time this with the breath. That's good, Jerry-Ann. Pushing into the hands, tucking the chin, or coming to neutral. Maybe one more. And then shaking out your tail feathers. Let's bring a little space between the knees. Maybe the toes touch. And if you're experiencing ankle cramps when you do this, you can tuck the toes under instead. I'm going to sit back onto my heels. And I'm going to bring, maybe today, my blocks underneath my torso and my head for child's pose. Right? Or maybe you come down onto the earth. I like blocks if I have osteoporosis and I don't want to round my back. I can create a little platform for my whole body so I'm not rounding. right? Or if I'm a little bit tight in any areas of the body and I can't comfortably sit back onto my heels, this block can help me bring the floor up to me. So coming to child's pose, just breathing into the back of the body. That forehead rests. Maybe the arms crawl forward, a really nice active child's pose. The fingertips crawling forward, the elbows lifting. It's a big stretch for some of us. Breathing in, breathing out. Good. And when you're ready, slowly crawling your way out. Coming back to our tabletop posture with the hands right underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips. And then from here, I'm going to be tucking my toes under and pushing into my hands, lifting my hips and coming into my downward facing dog. So I've just created an upside down V shape with my body. You could use your blocks here. You could use a chair or a wall. And I'm pedaling out my feet. So I'm bending one knee at a time. My hands are shoulder width distance apart or thereabouts. And you can make any adjustments. You feel stable here. Right? If you are, if you have a little bit of high blood pressure, maybe the head doesn't come below the heart and you come to a piece of furniture instead. Good. And then we're all going to be taking a peek towards the hands and rocking our weight forward just for a moment. So the shoulders are over the wrists and I've dropped my hips down, high plank pose. Push the earth away, get a little bit of spaciousness in your shoulder joints. That's good, Judy. Holding, breathing, and then we'll come down all the way onto the belly. Maybe the knees come down first, or maybe you sink down with control. That's good. Maybe for a moment I can't see you, and that's okay. Right? I want you to get a really good baby cobra experience here. So I've got my hands framing my rib cage. I'm trying to get there. Hands framing my rib cage. And the legs are really activated. The elbows lift. I'm going to lift just my head and my heart up off the earth. And you can feel that upper back working. Maybe you get a little higher. Yeah, that's good. Try to bring the elbows together towards each other. Maybe you do pulses, maybe you hold. Big breath in, get a little higher. And then we'll release down. I'm going to bring my arms in front of me. Create a little pillow for my head. And maybe the toes point out for a crocodile pose. Letting go of the breath here. Let yourself sink a moment. Very good, guys. Now we're going to come to a full locust pose. So I've got my forehead resting. My arms are long at my sides with the palms facing each other. My legs are activated, maybe hips width distance apart. And then I'll begin by lifting my head and my heart. Really try to squeeze those shoulder blades together as you lift the hands. And then maybe one leg lifts and the other leg lifts. And see how that feels to peel everything up. And this could be quite difficult as we keep both legs lifted, the hands lifted, and the head and heart lifted. Palms face each other. That's good, Ted. Big breath in, get a little higher. This is one of the best poses for counteracting that rounded shape that the upper back sometimes takes with age, with gravity, etc. Let's come on down nice and slow. Once again, creating a pillow for the head, resting a cheek or forehead, allowing the legs to soften into the earth, taking a big breath in and letting go, surrendering a little bit here. That's good. Just resting for a moment. And then when you're ready, beginning to make your way up onto hands and knees. Making your way up onto hands and knees. And then seeing how it would feel to balance on your knees. Now, if you're somebody who feels a little wobbly today, you might crawl on over to that couch. We're going to be practicing getting up and getting down a few times. So here I am on my knees. I'm going to step my right foot forward. Tuck my back toe under. Mindfully breathing in and pushing my way up. Stay right there. See how it would feel to then drop that back knee down. Balance on the knees. So good, guys. Step the left foot forward. Tuck the right toe under. Push into the earth, rise up. That's good, Barb. And then let's come back down. Drop the back knee down. Balance on the knees. And then just for a moment, I'm going to place my hands on my low back as I balance on my knees. Like I put my hands into my jeans pockets, kind of pushing the thighs towards each other and just leaning back a little bit. Lift the heart, big breath in, elbows reaching towards each other. Little mini camel pose here. Good, and then I'm going to come back up and step whichever foot forward feels like the natural foot to step forward for you. And then tuck the back toe under and we'll come to stand. Right, walk it out a little bit. Take your sip of water, coffee if you're still drinking coffee. And then I'm going to grab my blocks. I'm going to place one block between my feet, one block between my thighs. Giving that block a good squeeze. Finding what feels natural for me. Let's build a mountain pose. Once you have your block situated, the hands at the sides, or yes, the dog needs attention. Softening the gaze down or even closing the eyes. Just for a moment, imagining in your mind's eye a mountain. The base of that mountain traveling deep into the earth. Your feet, your legs are the base of that mountain. Imagining that beautiful snow-capped peak poking through the clouds, that is your head, right? Rising up, that is the top of the mountain. And then the whole body, right? Supported by the base and yet poking its way up, reaching up. Holding that beautiful mountain in your mind's eye and finding the stability, steadiness, and the ease of the mountain pose. Big breath in and release. And you can practice this anytime you're standing and waiting for something. Right? Practice your mountain pose. All right, now I'm going to sit down into my chair and I'm going to bring my hips back. Right, so you can see this side. I'm not afraid to kind of stick it out a little bit. I'm really using my glutes. And I'll bring my hands straight out in the front. And if you feel like, oh, this block between my legs is just too much, you can take it a little bit lower or take it on a slimmer setting if you have it on a wider setting. Good. So coming into your chair pose, squeeze that block if you have it. That's good, guys. We're going to inhale, straighten everything. Exhale, side bend right, really anchored down through the base of your mountain. Come back to center, inhale. Exhale, sink into your chair pose. Hips back, weight in the heels. That's good, Leanne. Inhale, lift. Exhale, side bend left. Rooting down. Inhale, center. Exhale, sink down into your chair pose. There's Larry. Come on in, Larry. Inhale, straighten. Exhale, side bend right. Inhale, straighten. Exhale, sink down. Maybe go a little bit deeper. Squeeze that block. You've got it, Golden. So nice. Practicing yoga in tandem with each other. Inhale, straighten. Exhale, side bend left. Good. Coming back up. And we'll take one more chair pose. Make it the best one yet. Now, I've been practicing these chair poses in all the yoga classes. And I gotta tell you, my legs are feeling so strong. And this is like one of the best ways you can use those muscles that you use for getting up and getting down. When is she gonna stop talking? Inhale, lift. Exhale, release. You can release the blocks. Let's switch out for the straps. If you need to change your camera angle so I can see more of your body, go ahead and do that. Take a sip of water if you need it. Seriously though, I was standing in the shower and I'm like, God, my legs feel really strong. What is that from? And then I realized it was that chair yoga, that chair pose flow we've been doing. So I'm going to take my strap behind my back. We did this last week with the hands pointing away from me. The strap is a little wider than shoulder distance. We're going to be doing 10 reps of lifting the strap up away from the body with a little bit of resistance on the strap. So pulling the strap a little bit, lifting up, not pushing farther than feels safe for you. Yeah, use whatever you've got. Maybe you can bring the hands a little closer, Jerry, in because you have the band. Yeah, that's good. Palms facing away. Lifting up and back, just 10 times. I think I'm at about 5. Yeah, make any adjustments if you need the strap a little wider. That's good, Kathy. Maybe you need a little bit shorter, grabbing onto whatever you have in your home for this. That's good, Nell. Maybe we'll take one more. Really open those shoulders. Right, so you notice how, this is another antidote to our rounded, slump forward, being at the computer all day kind of posture. So this is, when I worked for Martha Stewart, she gave us these yoga straps as a Christmas gift one year. And I'm like, what am I doing with this? I had no idea. She really did care about employees' health, mostly. And so we learned a few things, and this was one of them. One way to kind of combat that rounded posture. Okay, shake the arms out. I'm going to take a nice wide stance on my mat. I've tossed my strap to the side. I'm going to inhale my arms out to the sides and take a big hug, right arm on top. See if I can squeeze my own shoulders. Inhale, open. Exhale, hug, left arm on top. Good, we'll do one more on each side. Inhale, open. Maybe the arms come back behind the body. Exhale, right arm on top. Good, inhale, open. Exhale, left arm on top. That's good, Judy. And releasing the hands down at the sides. I might roll my wrists a few times. Good, let's take the hands to the hips. Step the right foot forward, left foot back at a little bit of an angle. And it's as long of a stance as you need with the bending into this right knee. The right knee stays right over the right ankle for warrior one. If you feel wobbly, make a little space between the feet. Yeah, that's good, Kathy. And then I'm going to pull my belly button towards my spine. A little engagement right here. So much strength. I'll hook the thumbs in front of each other. Hook the thumbs, and then inhale, lift the arms up. And I've got a little tug on my thumbs. And I might come here and think I could get a little deeper, or maybe I've gone too far. I want to ratchet it back. That's good. Now bending a little more deeply into that right knee. That's it. And rather than leaning the torso forward, I've got that torso straight up over my pelvis. So even leaning back a little bit to get that sensation, engaging that left glute muscle. You got it, Larry. Beautiful, Vicky. Big breath in, and then release the hands down to the hips. I'm going to hop the back foot forward just a little bit. Both legs straight for my pyramid pose. And today for my pyramid pose, I'm just going to lay my hands on the flat of my back. Just laying the hands on the flat of the back. You can see what I'm doing here. And as we come into pyramid, I'm going to just lead with the heart, inhaling. And as I exhale, hinge forward at the hips. Just a little forward fold over this front leg. I'm keeping my back nice and flat. Right? For those of us with osteoporosis, I don't want to just round my spine here. Right? It's not a contest to see who can kiss the knee or the foot. Right? I really want to stay safe here. And I'm getting a really decent stretch in my right hamstring, even though I am up quite far. Yeah, that's good, Leanne. Make it work for you. Good, Barb. So steady. Come on up nice and slow. We'll take a step to mountain pose and switch sides. Nice job, guys. Left foot forward, right foot back at a slight angle. Ted, I think this is the class for you. That's what I'm thinking. Bending into that left knee, finding your solid warrior one foot stance. Got my hands on my hips to start. The hips point towards the top of the mat. So good to have you back in the mix, Jerry. And I'm going to hook my thumbs, the opposite thumb on top from whatever I did last time. Might feel really weird, right? Inhale the arms up if you're not already there. Allow the shoulders to soften down. Maybe you deepen your bend in that knee. Find the breath. If you easily stop breathing and you forget to breathe, you're holding the pose, right? We want to find this ease in the breath. Right, maybe you twist a little bit to your left, Tim. The whole torso, a little bit to the left. Very good. Release the hands down. Hop the back foot forward to shorten the stance just a little bit. Right, and then I'm going to lay my hands on the flat of my back again, this time the opposite hand on top. Maybe shorten the stance a little more even. Inhale, lift the heart. Exhale, reach forward, fold forward, keeping a nice flat back. It's kind of like you're like a little mechanical bird dipping its beak into the bird bath here. Pull the belly button towards the spine. Keep that breath moving. Yeah, maybe you'd take a peek down at that left toe. You've got it. And then we're slowly coming up and stepping up to mountain pose. And maybe taking a little march in place here, opposite arm, opposite leg. See how high you can get that knee up. Yeah, that's good, Barb. Maybe you do a little cross crawl exercise. We know those are good for kind of suturing up the right and left hemispheres of the brain. And we're getting very fancy. Some of you are even lengthening, and you've got a little dancer-like movement. And pretty soon we'll be, auditioning for the Rockettes. All right, let's come back. Last week we did a tree preparatory pose that might have been a little challenging on some of our hips, but I want to try it again. So I want you to take caution if you've got hip issues, if your hips are feeling achy today, maybe you ratchet it back, you dial it down just a little bit. I'm going to bring weight into my right foot. If you need a support nearby, that's fine too. Lifting my left leg, my left knee straight up. I got my hand resting on my knee. And I'm going to push my leg up into my hand and push down onto my knee with my hand. Maybe this right arm comes out to the right. Big breath in. Sigh it out the mouth. Stay with it, Judy. I know you got some company there on the mat. Could be more challenging. And then I'm going to slowly open my knee to the side. See how this feels. Maybe you don't go very far. Still a little bit of resistance. Pull the belly button towards the spine. If you need to come out of it, that's fine. I'm going to come back to center nice and slow. You guys look great. Releasing down so you feel the effort in that left hip. Walk it out a little bit. I'll put my weight now in the left foot. Little bendy bounce. Pick up that right knee. Place the hand on top. Right? And maybe you're skipping this if you have issues in the right hip. I'm going to push my leg into my hand and my hand back into the leg. Maybe that left arm out to the left. Thanks for reminding me. And opening the knee to the side. Kind of like our fire hydrant pose, if you recall. Some of the same muscles being used here. Might be more challenging on this side. Maybe you need a wall. That's good, Beth. Come back slowly. Glad to see you're wearing your brace today, Leanne. And releasing down and walking it out. Taking a little boogie woogie around your mat. In fact, let's walk. That's good, Kathy. I like to see those hips shake. Let's walk to the very back of your mat. Very back of your mat. And I'm going to place my right foot on my balance beam, touching my toes on my left foot. So I'm walking a thin line. Maybe my arms are out to the sides like a tightrope walker. I'm going to stay here, and I'm just going to lean my weight forward a little bit, a little bend to my knees. This is it. This is the pose, balance beam with the right foot forward. If this feels easy to you, you could do a slow blink. Maybe keep the eyes closed for just a millisecond. Notice how this feels for you. Stay with it. Maybe it's not too challenging. Maybe it's really challenging. And everything in between. Really good, guys. And now we'll step with the left foot in front of the right foot. I find it really useful to bring my weight a little bit forward for this. But I have equal weight in both feet, and I might even be pushing the feet away from each other. Right? Maybe you do the slow blink. That's good. Let's do one more on each side. Right foot forward, walk on the balance beam. If this is really easy for you, close those eyes. See what happens without your vision there. Keep the breath moving. Yeah, if this is really challenging, remind yourself to lean the weight forward a little bit. That's good. And then last time, we'll step the left foot forward. Weight is a little bit forward. You could stay here. You guys could hold hands, nieces. Maybe you could help each other in this one. That's so sweet. Oh my God. Good, and then we'll release and come to the top of your mat. Very good, guys. I'm going to bring space between my feet. Just a little bit of space, and I'm going to circle my hips. Circle my hips to one side. Kind of juice up the hip joints a little bit. I could come back the other direction. That's good. How are you guys feeling? Thumbs up, thumbs middle, thumbs down, somewhere in between. Good, we got a lot of thumbs up. I like to see that, but I'm open to anything, okay? So let's come to a warrior two pose now. I'm gonna turn my right toes to the right, angle my left foot, and sink into that right knee right over my right ankle. If this knee tends to go forward of the ankle, that means you can lengthen your stance a little bit. Pulling the belly button towards the spine, my hips point to the side of the mat. And then when you're ready, opening your wings equally in both directions, bending into that right knee. That's good, Leanne. And I might reach forward a little bit and then reach back Just moving the torso only. Kind of surfing on the waters of life here with you guys and finding that sweet spot, this present moment right in the center. The last little piece of the puzzle is the gaze, turning the gaze over that right hand. Finding your breath, finding your intention for this moment. Maybe it's just to be present, be grateful for what our bodies can do. Let's flip this right hand. Inhale, trace the ceiling, come to your reverse warrior. Maybe that right leg straightens a little bit and you can get a little longer. And then we're going to come back, hands on the hips, all 10 toes to the center of the mat. Take a deep inhale, and as you exhale, reach forward with the heart, hands sliding down the legs. I'm going to keep a nice flat back here. I'm not going to go down as far as I possibly can. Instead, I'm going to keep a little pressure on my hands into my knees and lengthening my spine. I'm getting a really good stretch in my hamstrings here. If you're not, maybe you widen the stance. Maybe you come down a little deeper. It's up to you. Can you take 3 breaths here? Follow each breath as closely as you can. Maybe the hands slide down a little farther. And then we're walking ourselves up. Let's see if you can hop the feet back together. Right? March it out, come to the top of your mat. Go to the back of your mat. Everything in between. Making sure we are not taking ourselves too seriously. And then we'll try all of those things on the other side. Let's go ahead and bring that space between the feet again. Left toes turning towards the top of your mat, angling the right foot in a little bit, and bending into that left knee. The hips point to the side of the mat, right? So you got your left toe to the top of the mat, the back towards the back of the mat. That's good. And then we're going to open our wings, bending into that left knee. I will reach forward and reach back a few times, moving just the torso. Yeah, so solid, Leanne. That looks good. Kathy, great to see you back here on the mat, and then releasing into that sweet spot. This present moment we are all sharing right now as we turn the gaze over the left hand, just inviting this opportunity of what's to come. As we flip this left hand, inhale, trace the ceiling, reverse the warrior. Maybe this front leg straightens a little bit. Good, and then coming back down nice and slow. Hands to the hips. All 10 toes towards the side of the mat. We'll just do a little hip circle here. Good, and then I'm going to come back to the warrior 2 on the right side. So turning my right toes to the top of the mat, bending into this knee. Arms out to the sides. Inhale, reach forward with the right arm. Bring it across that right thigh without dropping the left shoulder in. Extended side angle, maybe the left arm stays out to the left. Maybe you can reach that left arm up and over towards me, towards the top of your mat. Palm facing down. Yeah, maybe you're up a little higher and that's fine. That's good, Leanne. Take a big breath in. Stretch a little longer. You've got it now. Awesome, guys. Come on up nice and slow. And we're simply going to turn and do this on the other side. Coming to your warrior 2 with the left foot, the left knee bent. Reaching forward with that left arm. Dropping it down. Maybe it's just the hand resting on the thigh, or it's the forearm across this thigh. Right arm traveling up and over. Palm facing down. That's good, Walt. Keep the breath moving. Kind of hard. Sometimes you forget to breathe. Very good. We'll come back up nice and slow. All 10 toes to the side of the mat, and then let's see if we can hop our feet back into the center, walk to the top of the mat, walk it out a little bit. Let's take one more standing pose. Okay, guys, we're going to step into the tree pose. And perhaps you have a favorite tree. There's so many great trees out there in the world. We're talking with another of the students here about her work at Washington Square Park and labeling the trees. I'm doing a tree labeling project right now, and trees are amazing. And that's why one reason I really like the tree pose is I can really envision my tree, my favorite trees. So let's start with a little bendy bounce to the knees. Weight will come into the right foot. I'll pick up my left heel, open the knee to the side, find my point of contact. I might need to hold on to something today. Maybe the foot pushes into the calf. Maybe you get up a little bit higher. Maybe the hands come to heart center, or you can keep the hands on the hips. What can you engage that would help you find stability here? And what can you release that you do not need to be using? Maybe you reach your branches up, or one branch if you're holding on to something. That's good, Ted. Pull the belly button towards the spine. Right, imagining all the roots going down into the earth. And we'll slowly come out. Hands might come back to heart center. That's good. Walk it out. Shake that right leg out. And then we'll try the tree on the other side. Little bendy bounce. That's good. And weight in the left foot, pick up the right heel. Open the knee to the side. Oh, good. And you're back. Find your point of contact. We're doing the tree pose with weight on the left foot. Maybe that contact is up high. Maybe it's down low. Maybe the toe stays on the ground the whole time. Hands to heart center if they're not there already. The side could feel totally different. You might step the foot on a block instead of the floor. Lifting the branch. That's good, Leanne. Make the change to support your ankle there. Big breath in. Breath out. We did a lot of balance stuff. So if you're feeling weak in the legs, I would not be surprised. We're not doing tree pose with fresh legs, are we? Coming out of it nice and slow. Way to go, Walt. Releasing, walking it out, and then we'll take our fun journey down onto the mat. Let's stagger the feet. I'm going to drop my back knee down. If you need to hold on to something, hold on to something. And then balancing on the knees. Balancing on the knees for just a moment. I might take another one of those delicious camel stretches with my hands in my back pockets, pushing the hips forward, right? A little bit of engagement in the core, lifting the heart. Big breath in. Good, and then we're coming down. I'm gonna come on down with my legs straight out in front. And I might take a block between my feet. Right? If you're somebody who has difficulty sitting up without rounding the back, you can do this with something against your back like a wall or chair. What I'd like inevitably to see is a little tilt forward of the pelvis. So my pelvis I look at it as like a bowl, and sometimes I see people and the bowl is kind of spilling out of the back of the body. See if you can bring that bowl just perfectly upright, maybe a little bit tipped forward. Everything okay? You guys can hear me? Raise your hand. Can you hear me? All right, good. I got my block here. I'm just going to take a couple breaths. If this isn't for you and you need extra support, you can, bring a blanket underneath the sit bones. can you zip your core up? Right? Pull the belly button towards the spine, soften the shoulders, soften the jaw. Yeah, I like that, Kathy. Just take a couple breaths in through the nose, out through the mouth or nose. Awesome, guys. I'm going to take my block to the side and take some space between my feet. Some space between my feet for wide-legged stretch here, wide-legged stretch. And I'm just going to be lifting my heels up off the earth and feeling that engagement in my legs. Without losing that engagement, allow the heels to set back down. And then I might lean forward just a little bit. Right, so my back is going to stay flat in this. I'm not rounding. I'm not tilting my chin down. I'm looking straight ahead. You might feel a stretch in the inside of the legs. If you have farther to go, you have farther to go. I'm going to stay right where I am. Right, as some of my colleagues can, do a face plant here, and that's just not me. That's not my personal anatomy. Big breath in. Maybe you get a little deeper. Right, if you absolutely have to just round and let go of the head, you can do that if that would feel good. Good, and then let's travel back up. I'm going to bring my feet back together, just kind of rock it out a little bit. And then I'll cross my right ankle over my left knee. Right ankle over the left knee. With my hands underneath me, I'll begin to lean back and bend this left knee and scoot my body forward. And, you might get here and it might be really intense and you want to edge away from it. You might want more, scoot a little farther forward. If you want more too, you can really push into the hands and lift the heart, right? So I'm coming from this kind of rounded whatever posture to this really engaged. And I can feel this good stretch in my right hip. We usually do this laying on the back, and I'm finding this to be a useful way to get our figure 4 hip stretch. My right foot is flexed rather than pointed. Yeah, good. And I hope Larry likes it too. Better for Larry. Yeah, awesome, guys. Let's release both legs down straight out in front. Switch sides, left ankle over the right knee. Right, I might lean back a little bit and bend my right leg. Scoot my body forward till I come to that amount of sensation that feels right. And then rather than kind of sinking back into the whatever pose, I'm going to lift my heart, push into my hands. Find the stretch, find the breath. And flex that left foot. Now, as men, we might, I shouldn't say we, you might feel like, these hip poses, I can never do them quite as well as maybe some of my lady friends do. And I want to tell you that is because men's hips are anatomically different. You have more narrow hips, the sockets are different, and I think we can understand why this is. They're just anatomically different. Doesn't mean you can't do everything we can do. Big breath in and release, but it might take a little bit of a different approach. Okay, guys, let's roll the wrists a little bit. And we're going to come to lie on the back. Make sure you have a strap nearby. We're going to come to lie on the back. Straps and blocks nearby. What I might like to do is just to kind of begin to quiet the mind a little bit. So I'm going to roll onto my back. I've got 2 blocks or maybe pillows underneath my knees or my thighs. And the soles of the feet are touching as the knees drift apart in reclining bound angle. I'm going to take my hands to my belly and simply breathe into my hands for 5 rounds of breath. Maybe I can let go a little bit of all of the weight I carry around every day and just allow myself to be in this moment with you. Very good, guys. Resetting. I'll slide my blocks away so they're not in the way. Anything else that might be in the way. Grab onto my strap. If you'd like, you can have a little neck support here, and that might feel really good. I'm going to make a loop with my strap and put it around the right foot. Push that right foot up towards the ceiling with the strap around it. My arms are straight. My left knee is bent to start. And then I might determine I could go a little bit deeper and extend my left leg all the way out. I mean, right leg. Sorry. Wait a minute. What am I doing? I'm doing opposite for no reason. I like to mirror you, and it sometimes confuses me. Sorry. So you got your right foot in the strap, the left leg is long, and we're just experiencing the sensation, breathing into it. Maybe you push the foot into the strap a little bit as you pull the strap back. So there's some level of engagement going both ways. Big breath in, breath out. That's good, Judy. Taking the strap into just the right hand. The left arm can come out to the left for counterbalance. And we're going to slowly open this right leg to the right without the hips lifting up off the earth. That's good, Barb. And there's a lot of engagement in that left leg to keep my hips stabilized. If this feels like too much, you'll come back a little bit. Right? Maybe it feels like not enough. You can pull that heel up a little higher towards the head. That's good now. Come on back up through center. And I might cross the midline of the body just a little bit with that right leg, feeling the IT band stretch. Right? So we went over to the right. Now we're coming over to the left. It's the same leg, same foot that's in the strap. And then I'm going to come back to center. Don't worry, Ted. We repeat this all the time. You'll get it. I'm going to step my left foot now into the strap to switch sides. It's really easy. Just lift that left leg and push it up into the strap. So switching sides, left foot in the strap, arms are straight, my shoulders are relaxed. And if you've got that flexible band, you're going to kind of ratchet up a little tighter. Good. Push the foot into the strap and the strap pulled back towards it. Little conversation happening there. Maybe you extend that right leg if you haven't already, if you've got the knee bent. Good. Big breath in, breath out. Taking the strap into the left hand. Right arm out to the right. And we'll slowly open that left leg to the left side, over to the left without losing the stability in the hips and extending strongly through that left leg. Sorry, right leg. Both legs are extending strongly. Whenever you're ready. Nice. Well, traveling back through center and maybe crossing the midline of the body just a little bit. This can be pretty intense here. Not a part of the body we stretch that much. This IT band that goes down the whole side of the leg. Good. Come on back through center. You can release the strap. Right. We'll hug the knees into the chest. Rock a little bit from side to side. Massage the low back. Right. If your low back is feeling a little bit tender today, this could feel nice. Maybe take some circles in one direction and the other direction. And then I'm going to plant my feet down onto the earth with the knees bent. I'm going to take a block between my thighs. I'm going to take any neck support I've been using out as we move into our bridge pose. Right? So just a light squeeze of that block between the thighs. I'm going to take hold of the edges of my mat today. Take hold of the edges of your mat with the arms straight. See if you can kind of push the heart up off the mat, wriggle the shoulders underneath the body, and then lift the hips. Lift the hips up off the earth. Maybe you get a little higher on the shoulders, squeezing the block, never turning the head from side to side, always keeping that gaze straight down the nose without shifting the neck at all in bridge pose. You might push the hips up a little higher. See if you can bring the work into the upper back a little bit. Heart towards the chin. If you have any other arm version that you like to do here, you can do that. For now, I'm just going to keep my hands on the mat. Something a little different. And then when you're ready to come down slowly. Upper back, middle back, and lower back, settling down into the earth. Taking my block out if I've used one. We'll walk the feet out to the width of the mat. So feet are nice and wide. And then I'm going to drop both knees to one side and then the other side. Good. Come back to center. I'm going to cross that right knee all the way over the left knee. So the knees are nestling. That's good. Drop the knees to the left. Maybe the right arm reaches to the right. If you need a little support under the knees, you could take a block there, place it under the knees. Right? Larry, we're just doing you could do a seated twist. Yeah, so I've got one knee over the other, and I'm dropping my knees to one side, and my arm is reaching the other direction. So it's just a really gentle spinal twist. If this feels like too much, you can always just bring the knees side by side. And letting go a little bit of the practice as we come towards the end of our class. When you're ready, you can switch sides. Travel back through center, cross the left knee over the right, guiding the knees over to the right side of your mat. Right? Maybe you slide a block under there if you feel like you're hanging out. The left arm reaching to the left shoulder melting into the earth. Taking that twist. If you're more in a more active twist, you want a nice tall spine. That's right, Larry. I'm watching you. Taking another breath here. This feels really good. You could stay, or maybe you're ready to come back to center. I'm going to hug my knees into my chest and then set up for my final relaxation pose. We'll be here for just 1 minute today. I'm going to extend my limbs long, my arms at my sides, my legs down with the ankles drifting apart. You might like a support under the head, a support under the knees, or even a blanket today if you're feeling cold. So finding the most relaxing pose you can be in. And you might have to shift and find it, find that feeling of a neutral spine where nothing is working and you can float. And that might mean keeping the knees bent, right? With the knees kind of caving in towards each other and the feet a little bit wider apart. That takes the pressure right off my low back. Yeah, drop those knees towards each other, Barb, and see how that feels, the knees pressing towards each other and the feet wide. Yeah, maybe that feels good to you, maybe it doesn't. Just an idea. So coming into Shavasana, our final resting pose, let's see if we can begin to let go of the body. And if you're not in Shavasana, you can use this time to enjoy some stillness in your meditation pose. Letting go of the hands, the feet, the arms, and the legs. Can you release the jaw? Can you release the shoulders? Taking another moment or two here in your final resting pose. If you're ready to come out, coming out slowly, wiggling the fingers and toes. I can hear. Raise your hand if you can hear me. Okay, so Ted, for some reason you can't hear me, but everybody else can. So coming into one final seated posture. We bring the hands together at heart center and close with the sound and vibration of one single Om. Big breath in for Om. Om. Thank you so much for your practice today. Namaste. Thanks, guys. Feel free to stick around if you have questions.